So we come into our last portion of this journey with Isaac and his ministry and the things that the Lord did through his hands and the different pressures and the things that he had to go through and face, and the cross, the heavy cross he had to carry during this race that he had to run. And what it is that the Lord desired to do at the end of his life so that he may be glorified. So I want to pick up verse 34 through 35, and this will be our conclusion verse here. And I'll give you some final thoughts after we go through and comb through this last portion. We're at the end of Isaac's ministry and what the Lord did through his life. And let's just see what the Lord reveals here. Amen. So verses 34 through 35, remember, we're just highlighting these scriptures. We're not dealing with them unless the Lord leads. But I think this is one we're going to kind of comb through a few of these verses. It says that the disagreeable marriage of his son Isaac grieved the comfort of his prosperity and brought bitterness to his parents, Isaac and Rebekah. And immediately I thought about those families who build such a great foundation that the Lord blesses that family with wealth. And here comes the kids, that doesn't have the discipline as the parents do. And they come and do things that will put a strain on the success and the successors of the foundation of what God has given them. And we see that here in America. We have different families that lay such a foundation of wealth, and then the generation after them comes and they begin to plunder and to squander and to basically destroy what God has blessed, simply because this is how they grew up. They grew up spoiled, and unfortunately some of those spoiled kids or spoiled individuals that comes after those who had to be disciplined to obtain these things. And the lack of discipline is what I'm seeing, is what we see play out in this next generation's life, and how that lack of discipline begin to destroy or to break up that foundation that was already laid. Amen. So let's see how this plays out. Verse 34 says that when Isaac was 40 years old, he married Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittites, as his wives. And they were a source of grief to Isaac's parents, to Esau's parents, Isaac and Rebekah. So here's a question. Why do you think they would grieve? What caused them to be grieved? Right? Because in Esau's rebellion, he forfeited Isaac's example. That's a word for some of y'all today. In Esau's rebellion, he forfeited Isaac's example. Some of us have kids right now that have been in rebellion, and they're forfeiting your example. Right? He is married not to one, but two women that were from the Canaanite tribe, and were cursed women because of Noah's curse pronounced on the Canaanites. So not only did he pick two wives, but these were also women that carried the curse that came from the forefather of their lineage. So he got two wives, and they both have curses on their life. And we know what happens when one party marries another party. They become one. So not only does that curse, not only do they obtain the curse, but that curse also transfers over into Esau's life and begin to mess up the things in his life and begin to destroy the things that those before Esau have come and basically begins to destroy Esau's inheritance. Which is why Abraham told his servant that the wife of Isaac shall not be from Canaan. In other words, they were unequally yoked religiously and morally. So these women that Esau have now picked up and come into covenant with, they were unequally yoked religiously and morally. And we all know that that is a recipe of disaster, right? So I believe that Esau was feeling some type of way because Jacob tricked him out of his wealth inheritance of spiritual and natural blessing from his father. So if you ask me, he felt some type of way and rebelled from obedience to his parents' wishes for him. Now we see these things play out. You know, you have this one child that is upset and feels some type of way, and because of that upset and they feel some type of way, it reminds me of what Cain did. The Lord said, hey, listen, if you obey me, then you would prosper, you would do well. But if you disobey, then remember, sin lies at the door, right? And I felt like, and it seems as if this is what Esau chose. Esau was mad and upset with Jacob. He chose to rebel and to do his own thing, right? He chose to rebel and to do his own thing. And because of that, in their last days of living, it caused them so much misery because of the choices of their adult sons and what they did to bring stress to the ministry of Isaac and Rebekah. Now I want to conclude. Right? So, great story, Brother Eric, but what did this have to do with me? What do I learn from this story? What is it that I need to learn from this story? Right? James 1:19-20. It reads, understand this, my beloved brothers and sisters. Let everyone be quick to hear. Be careful, thoughtful listener, slow to speak, a speaker of carefully chosen words, and slow to anger, patience, reflective, forgiving. For the resentful, deep-seated anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God, that standard of behavior which he requires from us. Right? So the big picture is we have to learn to be calm, be patient, and to embrace the Spirit of God when we are in those fiery trials. Right? We have to learn to endure to the end and not grow weary in well doing. For we will reap if we faint not. We have to learn to be patient, right? Long suffering. We have to take on the mantle of love in these trying situations so that we will ultimately glorify God and we will witness the love of Christ to a dying, resentful, troubling, angry world. That's what we take from this. Right? That's what we take from this. So I have a few more points I want to point out. Just to recap. Isaac's ministry was the marketplace, farming and trading. He was a farming and trading businessman. Although he was a farming and trading businessman, the Lord used him in his niche to still glorify God and to win souls to the kingdom. It just so happened that the Lord uses Isaac's character